So, you want to be an it girl? Hello, welcome back to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. Today I'm joined by Isabel from Data Week podcast. Hi, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have you here. So just tell us a little bit about you. What do you do?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
go on.
I feel like we're on the same level of like, we do everything.
Yeah.
Like anything I can do, I'll try to do.
Love that.
So I have the podcast, Data Week the podcast, and a blog, Data Week the blog. Started as a blog, then a podcast. I'm an actor, stand-up comedian, podcaster, like whatever you wanted to say. I've
like
probably
arts and whatever.
Creative person, but yeah.
Sketch, TikToking.
Sketch, TikTok. Yeah. Exactly.
Is TikToking a verb? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll make it a verb.
For today. Very good.
TikToking. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, all of it. I think I've tried to like dabble my way into now I'm hosting a show. So yeah.
I love that. So when did you make the move to LA?
So I went to Pepperdine so that was in 2015.
Great.
That sounds like a really long time ago.
Yeah. I mean,
it was.
I was 2014.
Right.
So is that 7 years?
We can't count.
We can't count.
We cannot count it.
We won't do that.
No,
and also we missed a whole year. So
we missed a year.
Yeah.
That 2020 doesn't count.
Doesn't
it's a
count.
wash.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, our careers doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I'm still 1 year out of college.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
According to if the pandemic didn't happen.
No, exactly. And that's a very different place from being 2 years out of college. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
It is actually very different.
1 year,
I think.
2 year?
I do think it's very different.
Yeah. No, because you're like stuff is supposed to be happening now, right?
Right.
But it's a hustle.
It's a hustle.
Yeah.
So do you consider yourself an actor first?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So tell us about moving here.
Yeah.
Going to Pepperdine. Acting degree?
Yeah, I was a theater and media production major. I studied abroad in London, doing acting there. I've always known that I wanted to be an actor, and my parents just never told me no. They were just like, yeah, if that's your dream, like, let's do it. This is so stupid. I was hearing Shawn Mendes talk about how his parents were like so like radically supportive of him. Like he was like, well, I'm always going to go for my dream. And I feel the same way. Like I was never told like, oh, you can't do it. And I was not a great actor. Like in high school.
Oh yeah, me neither.
No, in high school, I was bad and a bad singer. And my parents never told me.
Aww.
I'm like, oh, I'm a great singer, like a triple threat. I can't dance and I can't sing. So not a triple threat. But my parents just never told me I wasn't. I mean, they still will tell you an incredible singer, incredible actor.
I love that.
Yeah, no, I'm like radically supported by my family. So I remember like the impetus of it was that my sister was with her college roommate and they were in our car and I was just with them and they were talking about, they're like, oh, well, so what are you going to do? Like, you're going to go to college? Like, what are you going to do? I'm like, well, I'm going to be an actor. And it was just so immediate. Like, I'm like, well, I guess that's it.
You're committed.
Yeah, I'm committed.
So you moved from
Portland, Oregon
to
LA. Well,
Malibu, LA.
Yeah.
And how was that transition?
Well, I love Malibu.
You do?
I actually love Malibu. It's a sleepy town. It's everyone's like Malibu, Barbie, Nobu, but like if you get down to it, like everything closes by 8.
Oh.
So it's not the college experience. Like if you want like a state school and you want to party and like have a football team, like that's not where you should go.
That's not it, yeah.
Yeah, I always love people who are like, oh my gosh, like there's all these credits and like there's no football team. I'm like, didn't you know that going in? Like do your research.
Sure.
It's like if you went to school on the East Coast and you're like, oh, it's cold. It's like, yeah. If you're in school at the East Coast, it's going to be cold. So yeah, I mean, I went there. I love Malibu and then moved to like West Hollywood right after I graduated.
And what was that a culture shock for you at all? Or were you like totally adjusted?
From Malibu to West Hollywood?
No, from Oregon to Malibu.
Oh, yeah. No, it was all different.
Yeah.
I mean, even a lot of people come from Texas or California. And so I felt like I was kind of one of the only Portland people. I love being from Portland. I love Portland. Like it's...
What's the stereotype of people from Portland?
I mean, I think like the Portlandia, like everyone's a hippie, dippy, like, you know, they love their weed and everything. But I mean,
it's not that different.
Yeah. It's also California. No, so, I mean, but I grew up I didn't grow up in the city of Portland. I grew outside of it. I mean, I'm I'm going to flex on you. I'm 8th generation Oregonian.
Wow.
So like my Oregon roots are deep. And so my whole family is there. It's like, I mean, I love it there. I love my family. I'm super close to them. So every time I go back, I'm just happy to be there.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, you're in college.
Yeah.
What are the people like? Is it, I don't know, for me, it was like this. We all showed up. We all have, I call it a varsity complex. Like we're from JV towns and some people are from California and we all show up to college and, you know, like on some level, we're all like a little clout chasey.
Right.
A little, you know, everyone's talented. Everyone's an actor, singer, dancer, influencer. How was that for you? Was that the same?
Yeah. I mean, I remember like going into college and then having all these beautiful women.
Yeah. What is that?
Like, did every beautiful person come to California? It's actually very rude. And I wasn't ready. I was like, I did rush and I was like, oh no, I only have one skirt. Like I just was not prepared. Also, I think coming from Oregon, I come from a very down to earth family. Like I like barely wore makeup. So, I mean, like going into this thing where like people had makeup and dresses and heels, I was like, oh, it's like too much for me.
Wow.
I wore like my graduation dress for Rush. I was just like, what is happening? So, I mean, that was a culture shock. But in our theater program, theater is so crazy because a lot of people come in being the best in their class. Like not a lot of people after high school pursue theater. Yeah. And go to college. I mean, a lot of people don't know, you know this, that you have to audition for theater programs. Right. So you already are narrowed in by that. So you have to be kind of, I mean, I don't know. Pepperdine's not the best place to go for theater. It was just kind of where I got in and I loved it. I love the school. So, but everyone's kind of at the top of their class. And then you're like, oh, now I'm with talented people, not only in my class, but 3 years above me, just killing it, knowing exactly what to do and what to say. I remember going into my first audition at Pepperdine and I just didn't prepare. Like, good. I didn't prepare. I like barely read the sides. And I was like, well, I guess we're just going in. Like, this is what we do. And I was like, oh, I didn't read the play. I didn't do any character work. Barely read the sides. And I was like, oh, so that is not what to do. Yeah. And everyone else was like memorized and they should. Like even the freshmen? Oh, yeah. So it was just you. It was just, I mean, I think I sat in on a lot of auditions afterwards. Like I would go and help, like do reading for auditions after I graduated. And I mean, a lot of the freshmen are like, don't really know what they're doing. Sure. Which is totally understandable. You're a freshman. You don't know. So, I mean, that was kind of a shock. But were kids already like actors working? Yeah, some of them were. Fuck. That intimidates the fuck out of me. I was like, I have nothing. Like I have my high school theater credits. Yeah, me too. I did too. Yeah. Right. Like had done a little bit of stand-in work and a little bit of extra work. Love it. And that is it. I was like, I've been on a set. Like, I'm some big shit walking in here. There was like an HBO show that filmed in Portland. I was like, the craft services. So like, this is what luxury is. So your credentials were high. Yeah. I was, exactly. And then people are like in national commercials. Right. And one of our girls got a lead in like a Fox show, like during one of our shows. I mean, it was crazy. I was like, oh, wow, I am not I mean, some of us were on the same level. Sure. I'm like, oh, I'm so lost. No, you're suddenly thrown into people who've been doing this professionally since they were, an infant. And I had just like done a couple high school auditions. Right. And, like I'd always gone into the musical, Yeah. Like that was, we had like 90 people in our musicals. Like if you took a tap lesson and it was a tap show, you were in the show. You're in. So you own a pair of tap shoes, you're in. You're in. Yeah. Exactly. I do. I still own mine. I'm sure I do too. You have your jazz shoes. They're all in that drawer. Yeah. Mine in my closet. Yeah, very good. Yeah. So, situation at college, I don't know, is there like, what's the deal with social media? Like in college, what is the feel? I mean, it's so funny because I've always been bad at social media. I've never subscribed to like an aesthetic. And I still don't. I don't get it. Like I don't understand. And I post every month still. Like, I am not good at it. You post once a month? Is that what you... Yeah. Okay, good. No, it's unacceptable. I cannot... Are we talking about Instagram? Yeah. Okay, good. One post a month. Yeah, one... Yeah, to be honest, I'm probably not much different. Yeah, I'm just... I mean, my other platforms where I'm like hosting shows and like doing my podcast, I'm posting like every other day.
Right.
But on my normal Instagram, where I should really be investing my time, like for my actor persona, I have like 0 posts and they're all from like Portland, Oregon. They're like, who is this woman? So, I mean, in college, I think social media, I wasn't paying attention to it very much. I had to post things for my sorority. So I was like, oh, okay, we'll post this thing. But I've never been that into it. I mean, I think it's such a horrible thing for actors to be on social. I mean, it sucks because you see, still now I have to like mute people that are
Go off about that.
Like, I am so here to support everyone. Like, you live your truth, you do your thing. Like, I'm so happy that people are being successful. I just can't look at it.
Yeah.
It's too much sometimes for me because I'm like, I need to stay in my lane. Like, I'm doing it. I'm putting in the work. I'm hustling. I'm doing everything I can. And when someone books something, I'm like, oh, holy shit. I've done nothing with my life, which is not true.
Sure. Right. We're not our credits.
No, exactly. And right out of college, I booked a big commercial for Airheads.
Oh,
and
iconic.
Yeah, it was amazing. My head blew up. It was awesome.
That will be attached to this.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Go and look at it. It's awesome. No, I loved it. And they keep renewing it. It's great. People still see it.
Love that.
So it was amazing to be booked right out of college. I was like on a high from it, basically. And I was like thinking if I was another girl in my class and I hadn't booked anything, I would be so sad seeing my post that I had just booked something.
Well, at least you have the self-awareness.
Right.
Some people don't.
Yeah. I was like, I felt sad for those people, but happy for myself. Like, that's probably a weird thing to say, but, and then I haven't booked anything in like a year and a half. Like, it's so crazy because I remember going into college, like one of my professors was like, well, for commercials, like you'll go on 100 auditions and book one. I'm like, yeah, not me. And like, I have a log and it's been 100 auditions and I booked one. Like, it's crazy.
It was just the first one.
It was one of the first 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I actually did recently book a commercial and then I was cut from it. So
congrats. But I do know
I was happy to be there.
Yeah. So I want to go back to, you talked about you'll mute people. Are you a big muter, unfollower on Instagram? How do you manage your mindset around Instagram?
I don't unfollow people. Like, I mean, well, that's not exactly true if they haven't posted. So I take back everything I said. No, if they haven't posted in a long time and I'm just like trying to like do a numbers game and kind of get like, you know what I'm talking about? Let's follow.
So you look at your numbers.
I do look at my numbers and I have like not a following.
Like, me neither.
Yeah. So, I mean, I look at it a little bit and like people from high school that I haven't talked to in like 5 years, I'm like, well, you know, I don't really need to keep up with what you're doing.
Sure.
But I do mute people on Instagram because I just think it's healthier for myself to stay in my lane. Like I said, like it is such a mentally taxing like thing to be an actor. It is so mentally taxing. I mean, you're putting yourself out there all the time. You're going on auditions. You'll never hear if you don't get it. Like it is just so hard. And so I'm like, everything I can do to keep myself in line and keep myself on track and stay positive, I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And if that's muting people who are successful, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Like I'm happy.
I don't either.
Yeah. I'm happy for those people and I want them to do well. Like I totally believe in that if you are like you rise with the people you're with.
Totally.
Like you build each other up. I'm so happy to do things for people and I want them to do things for me. But like at a certain point, I'm like, okay, this is unhealthy for me now because I'm just hyper aware of other people in my same kind of category of like just starting out, have a couple credits. I'm trying to build this thing.
I call it the draft. We're being drafted. Like, absolutely. We got the varsity complex, which it's a requirement to be here.
Have to be.
And then you kind of like, you're gonna be in the NFL. I don't know why I picked NFL, but like NFL. So we're like kind of like
I know
drafted.
0 football references. Just
okay,
so you know.
we're benched. We're benched. Yeah, so you're in like you're there, like you are prepared and ready, but like, you know, I call it the draft stage.
Yeah, I think it's, I've heard a lot about like opportunity meets talent meets luck, kind of like.
I also think your looks play a little into it. Like when your body kind of lines up with like who you are as a person.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think looks are so much bigger of a deal than we think. And
we don't mean attractiveness.
No.
We mean your type.
Oh, like literally your type.
Yeah.
I think actually some of the most successful people I know right now are like not necessarily attractive in the like, you know, Ken doll way.
Right.
But they're so specific to their type. They know their type so well that they just keep booking and booking because they're looking for that. People are looking for that type. Like if you're looking for the burly guy who could be a lumberjack, like I know him and he's not the cutest guy, but he's so specific to what he knows. But I mean, I'm kind of a generic white girl. Like I'm a young, I mean, my agent pitches me as like a young Pam Beasley.
Okay.
From The Office.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
Right.
Yeah.
I play like a quirky
You do look like Jenna Fisher in a way. Yeah.
Which is great because I actually love her too.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. Amazing. And I'm so happy with that. Like, I know I'm not going to be the bombshell. That's never going to be me. And I actually don't feel comfortable playing the bombshell. Like, I don't love wearing swimsuits, but I love being like having a quirky, like collared shirt. Like, give me all the collared shirts and the weird sneakers. Like, that's who I love to
that.
be. Yeah. And I think my personality is that way too. Like, I'm very quirky and, you know, funny and self-deprecating. So I think it works with what I'm putting out there. But you have to be so true to, I mean, I'm sure you've experienced the same thing.
You do have to be so true to yourself, almost to the point that you have to put the stuff you don't like about yourself out there.
100%.
And you have to take it. Like first, I talk about this all the time. People are probably so sick of hearing this, but the first time somebody told me I was neurotic, I bawled my eyes out. And now it's probably my number one thing I auditioned for.
No way.
Yeah. In college, seeing we're talking about college choice. Yeah. I had a teacher tell me two things, which one is really funny. He was like, I don't think you're very motherly at all, which is hilarious because I actually am kind of motherly. Maybe not. Maybe a motherly person doesn't say that. I don't know. And then he told me I was kind of like neurotic. Tears.
Right.
Bawling.
Sure.
Panic attack. Whole class. The whole thing.
Call mom.
Yeah. Call mom for sure.
Yeah.
Breakdown. Like neurotic people are ugly, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I can't do this. Like I'm never going to make it, whatever.
Yeah.
Neurotic people don't book TV. Neurotic people do book TV all the time. But yeah, bald. So like you almost then on top of it have to put your not cute things out first. Yeah.
So it was so funny because someone recently said I was doing an improv show. That's another thing added to the list.
Yep. Let's keep going with that.
We're just going to keep adding new things that I do. So I was in an improv show. I did an alumni show for my college when I was on my college team. So she was going around to everyone and saying what she really liked about them after our show. We did it. And all she said to me was like, Isabel, eyebrows. Because I'm so expressive with my eyebrows. Like I also, it's so bad. You can tell exactly what I think about a person.
Me too.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's horrible. It gets you in trouble.
Oh, it got me in trouble so much.
You almost can't lie.
No, I cannot lie. I can't lie. Like, I love it. My sisters are always asking me opinions about what they're wearing. And I'm like, like I'm
holding it in.
And so when she said Isabel eyebrows, I was like, I really don't like that comment. Like, I don't need to be known for my eyebrows, but I am. Like, I am so expressive. Like, that's what makes me different. And I think also you're going to get cast because you're the best person for that role. Like, you're the best person that can do that. You're the only person that can do that the best to that extent. So I want to be the best at what I'm good at. And if that's being like a quirky receptionist and not a bombshell, great. Like, I don't want to go up against the bombshells. Like, that's not I
won't book it.
No, I will not book it. It's like people that I was doing a bunch of short film auditions when I was getting started, like for USC, UCLA. And they wanted me to keep playing like a foster kid, like down on their luck pregnant. And I would always audition for them. And I'm like, this is not me. Like, I just can't play a young pregnant woman. Like, it just doesn't ring true. And also, I've had a very, like sheltered life. So I can't like play a homeless teenager down on their luck who's pregnant. Like, it just doesn't, it doesn't look right on my face.
It's going to come off unauthentic.
Totally. Yeah. And, like, get someone else who can do that. There are so many people who that isn't their story, right? But they're great actors like that. I'm more of a comedic person. Like, I don't put me in the like just lost their child category. Like, that's just not me. It's never going to be me. So I'm happy to like lean into the things I'm good at rather than like try and reach for these crazy. And I'll still audition for all of them. I never say no to an audition unless it's like they want me to be nude. I'm like, nah. I'm like, for the right thing, yes.
Yes.
For an HBO show?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, you can get me naked. But for like a student film, I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, you're just college age.
Not going to happen.
I'm like, does it need to be in the script?
No.
And if not, then no.
Then it's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. But yeah, it was so funny when I was signing like something for my agent. They were like, oh, will you do nudity? And I was talking to my, like, one of my best friends who's my agent's assistant. And I was like, I will, but for HBO. Like, and like, is that clear?
Yeah. Like, no, did you write that?
I said, like, I won't do it unless it's a big opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, no student films.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like, absolutely wouldn't do it. And also no one wants to see me nude. Like, they don't want to see the receptionist nude. And I mean,
someone does. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, there is a niche for that.
There's a niche for that.
But I don't want to be a part of it.
I agree. Okay, so let's talk about the landscape of social media, like comedy sketch world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's get into that. That's feelings about that.
Yeah. It's so funny because I am such a fan of stories, Instagram stories, and reposting stories and everything. But like I said, I can't post anything on my feed for some reason. It's just this mental thing. I'm like, I told this to you, but I think about what high school people are thinking about me.
Yes.
And grade school people are thinking about me.
Go into that.
So I am like a comedic person. I've always been. But in high school, I wasn't like the class clown. I mean, I could always make people laugh. I think that's something that I've always been able to do. I've always wanted to make my family laugh. Like that's, you know, I'm kind of like the jokester of my family, but in high school, like you still want to get asked to dances. Like you want to get asked to dances. You want to be attractive to boys. So I was never the like high schooler that was, you know, crazy in costumes and, you know, or just, you know, I didn't feel comfortable doing that.
There's something about particularly women too in comedy.
Oh,
in high school, it seems like it's not cute.
Oh, it's not cute.
Which is like sad. Why do high schoolers, I mean, I felt the same way. Like, I would make eccentric, because I'm pretty eccentric too. That's probably the second type I go out for.
Right.
Make jokes that like nobody would understand and stares.
Yeah. It's funny because I feel like I adapted to being an introvert. Like, and my comedy was really understood by like people right next to me in class. Okay. Like I would joke so much to those people, but not really to the whole class. I just wasn't comfortable. I was still trying to get a boyfriend and, you know, be attractive. And so I wasn't going to, I mean, some people from my high school, if anyone ever listens to this from my high school, are going to be like, nah, you were weird. And I do think I was like kind of a weird girl, but I was mainly to the people next to me and my friends, like that I was weird too. And eventually when I got to a senior, I just like, I was like, never mind. I don't care about any of this stuff. And I was like a drama club officer. And
oh my God, me too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh my God, love it. I was VP.
I was president.
Great.
I was president of the state too. Not to flex, you know.
No, you're flexing. And
no, I'm flexing a little bit. It was my one big like high school shit.
That's okay. And I appreciate it and love it.
Thank you.
Thespian. Were you in the Thespian Society?
Oh yeah. I was literally an STO. Okay. Like very into it. Like I think I had the highest hours in the state.
Okay.
You know, just flexing. Like, you know.
I don't think anyone will appreciate that as much as I do.
Wow. I haven't seen somebody appreciate that in years.
I love it.
Did use it on every single college app.
Absolutely. You have to. I still have my thespian card.
Me too.
Okay, cool.
Good talk.
Yeah, we're weird.
Back to social media.
Yeah, back to social media. No, I dressed up when I was in high school for like drama club. Like I would dress up as an old lady because that's when I just started not caring as much. But yeah, I mean, I think there's always been something to me that's like funny and outgoing, but I still am, when I post on social media, I'm like, what do these people think of me?
Yeah.
Like, what do these men think of me? Which is so annoying and weird. But I started doing like TikTok over quarantine.
Okay.
And it was based off my day to week thing where I was doing the guys side and I have all these wigs and I would do the guy side and then I would do the girl side on a date basically. Yeah. And just do date TikToks of sketch stuff. And I would never post it on my main Instagram because when you're on TikTok, you can get an audience of people you'll never know.
Well, that's the funniest thing because people think it's hidden.
Right.
Like your TikTok secret.
Yeah.
But like it's public.
It's public.
Yeah.
People absolutely can find it. It's on my link tree now. Like,
well, and also, I don't know if this is just me. Do your contacts sync to your TikTok?
No.
I get like is a contact. Like, you know, so people who are in my so like if someone has your phone number,
Okay.
It might come up. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not to pop your bubble.
Okay, good.
Keep going on it, but you know.
Great to know.
But yeah, people think they're hidden on TikTok.
Yeah.
Doing whatever they want.
Exactly. Which is not true. And I'm okay with some sort of that, but not like the popular guys from my high school. Like, what is that? You know what I mean?
Do you know why?
I mean, I think there's still like this like little girl in me that wants their affection and love. And even though they're like, I will never contact them again.
Also, like, you thought they were so hot in the moment and now they're not.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They're not hot. They were hot.
Yeah.
They were hot. But now.
For your tiny pool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My tiny itty bitty Portland pool. Mm-hmm. Even like people from my grade school that I used to slow dance with. I'm like, what is he going to say? Which is just crazy. I just think it's like kind of that childhood, you know, loves and all those things that still are so implanted in your memory.
Totally.
Like, so, like, I still remember dancing to Halo in 8th grade with this guy. Like, I'm like, what does Halo guy think of this? Which is just insane because there's so many more things in my life that mean so much more. But it's that pressure of, like, putting your full authentic self out on social media that I just am not totally comfortable with yet.
Do you worry that people are, like, making fun of it?
Oh, I would make fun of me. Like,
go off.
I mean, I think when someone is so, like, extrovert, I mean, I'm not an extrovert, actually, but I'm so public.
You could have fooled me.
Yeah, right? I'm so public with things that I do, like, and I'm trying to gain social media followings on podcasts and blogs, and I mean, it's like I have 5 Instagram accounts. Like, I'm maxed out on my, like, I can't add another one right now.
No.
And I actually need to. So we'll figure that out. But I have so many things that I'm trying to promote and get traction on because I actually feel like the content is really good and I think people would enjoy it. So I'm trying to get more, you know, followers and listeners or whatever. And to do that, I think I have to promote it on my regular page. You do. Which I do. But it's – so there's a certain amount of being an actor you have to be like public and okay with things.
Yeah.
But I don't think – as an actor, you've totally signed up to be criticized, like, for everything. I don't think that was part of, like, what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to, you know, like, do Stanislavski and weird stuff like that and, you know, get really weird into movement. Like, that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be, like, a social media person, but it's such a part of this.
Part of the game.
Yeah, it's such a part of the game. I mean, some actors that have already been established don't have to do that. Like, totally. I don't think Emily Blunt has a social media page, and good for her.
Yeah, I'm like Scarlett Johansson does not have an Instagram.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Love that. Not me, because I'm not Scarlett Johansson.
Well, me neither, but I can dream.
Right. We can always dream. I love Emily Blunt. Huge fan.
Okay, I love Scarlett. Scarlett Johansson is my moment.
Well,
I do like Emily. Okay.
Yeah,
so there
Scar
you go.
Jost.
Yeah, they're great move.
Yeah, I know. Good for him.
Yeah. Big come up.
Yeah. Really good for him. But I mean, those people don't have to do it. Right. But it's like such a part of, I mean, you know, like we see things like how many social media followers do you have? Right. Like that's a very real thing that I'm like, I feel weird saying 1,400. It's like,
oh, I know. I write K just to make it sound like I have more. Like I don't write out the zeros. I put just 1.43K.
Yeah.
Amazing. So it looks, if you don't know or you're going quickly, maybe you don't know.
Like the K means a lot.
Like I'm stacked.
You have K.
Yeah.
You have K in the name. Yeah. So that's a great hack.
Yeah, take that tip. Yeah. Everyone take that tip. You know?
That's the one thing that will come out of this podcast. Yeah, that people are like, I needed to know that.
There you go.
But it is weird.
It's weird.
They want like 10,000 followers up. And I'm like, well, I didn't really sign up for 10,000 followers. Like the people that follow me, I think there are some people that really like the content I'm putting out. Obviously my family, they love it. Like they're like, oh, look at our girl. She's doing it. And I'm sure some people are really annoyed with how much I put out on and I'm totally okay with that too.
And how much do you put out on TikTok?
Oh, TikTok, I've like put a pause on, but I was putting it so much.
Were you really working it?
Yeah, it was like a full-time job also.
Tell us about that.
So when I was doing sketches, I was filming 3 a day. And but then you have to edit it. And I also wrote all of it. So I wrote all of it. I like looked for costumes. I went to Goodwill. I went to wig places. And then you write it and then you have to film it.
And you're spending all your own money.
Of course. All the own money that I don't have. And then I also was, writing it, filming it, editing it, posting it, then reposting it and commenting on people's comments. And it's like, I mean, I heard on a podcast recently, it's like you need at least $10,000 to start acting in LA. Yeah,
I literally know
way more.
Where you got that. And yes, if not way more.
Yeah, because it's so, I mean, to be an actor, you have to love it.
Yeah.
You can't just be, I mean, there's continual acting classes. And now I'm doing all this stuff that I'm investing my own money in, like my podcast, and just for the hopes of like really being an actor, you know? And I want people to enjoy, and I love making the content. That's my favorite part of it. I love doing the podcast and writing the blog and posting a show. It's the social media I hate. I hate it. I hate posting. Like for some reason, the whole like posting on Instagram and like getting the caption and like tagging the people, I just hate.
What do you think about it? What do you think that it is about it that like, is honestly, like cringe?
It all feels cringe to me, like figuring out hashtags. I'm like, what is that? Like, I don't know what to hashtag. But also, it's the whole process of like even pressing post. I wish I could just do it on my computer because for some reason on my phone.
I have no idea.
No, I can't. I don't think you can.
I don't think you can.
If someone knows,
hit us up.
Me know.
I think there's like this weird like. I don't know. I'm going to try to describe it and not sound completely like a narcissist. There's this weird whole bit of social media, especially as an actor. I think that when you put it out, you're kind of like, hey, look at me. Yeah. That is like so
self-promotional.
Yeah, self-promotional. And like, I worry so much as I hate to fucking admit this, that, you know, people back home are like, what the fuck are you smoking? Like, what are you doing? You're in your mid-20s and like, you're still doing this. Like,
I know.
You know, and I'm like, do you ever check your insights to see how many?
No, I can't.
Okay. I'm going to say it, but like, just like, forget it. I check my photos and stuff to see how many times people have sent it. And messages, and I'm like, all right, who's talking shit? Like, you know, I know it's like horrible for the mental health. Yeah, just take those insights off. Yeah, so I do worry about it. I mean, I know plenty of other girls who, I mean, I'm sure there's some guys who worry about it too, but that do it too, you know, like, or like you post a picture and you're like, why does this one photo have so many sends? Right. You know, you're like, oh, yeah.
I mean, like so many people I know are doing real estate. And back at home. And awesome for them. Like my dad's in industrial real estate. Like I'm happy for you. And I've just decided to do something really hard and had the support to do it and just went full, you know, but because of that, I think some people will always kind of wonder about their dreams, maybe like what they could have done. Whether it was like, oh, I could have been in the NFL and then I went to college for marketing, which nothing bad about marketing. That's an amazing, useful tool. But I think some people will be, I don't want to say jealous because I don't think anyone should be jealous of what I'm doing or like, but they're like, oh, wow, she's really going for it. But there's a part of them that's like, well, what happened? Why didn't I do it or something? And then it's easier to make fun of that. It's easier to be like, oh, look what she's doing. Like, that's so stupid. Or like, she's hosting a show or, you know, or she's posting weird TikToks. It's like, well, look at her. That's kind of weird. Whereas I think if they had maybe gone for their stuff or had the support and stuff, maybe they wouldn't feel that way because people that are going for their dreams and hustling get it.
Yeah.
Like, I get what you're doing.
I get what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
We've had a lot of weird similarities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so hard. Like, and I don't see any actors post like if they got something and I'm like, wow, that's stupid and I wish they wouldn't post that. I'm like, amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're doing it.
Do I also mute them? Yes.
And you have to mute them.
And I'm like, it's been real great. I do want to know. I don't want to unfollow you because I want to tab on you. But like on some level for my own self, like I can't.
It's self-preservation out here.
I'm on a hard mute.
Oh, yeah.
Gain right now.
No, you have to preserve your mental health.
Right. You can't drain the battery.
No. And I'm already running on empty. Like I'm burning the candle at both ends always. So if I get on my phone and I see things that are like upsetting to me, well, then I just lost 5 minutes of my life I'm never going to get back of sadness.
And those add up.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Everything on social media adds up. Like the posting adds up, the viewing adds up. And like I'm not posting that much and yet I'm still on my phone all the time. Like what is it about that too?
I have no idea.
That sucks.
You know?
Do you feel the same?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I look at the hours, and I'm like, wait, what?
I'm like, how did that happen?
I'm like, I wasn't on that long.
No.
I didn't do anything. Well, and then I'm also, you've honestly beat me in this one, but like, I'm very aware of like, you're either a consumer of content or you're a content creator. Yeah. And I want to be on the content side.
Right.
But to be completely honest on some level, especially with social, not so much a podcast side. I'm like, I'm pulling my weight.
Right.
I'm like, I'm a consumer.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want. So like, I really do try to pull myself off because I also think it drains your own creativity ideas. Like I see so many people do the same, like I get it. Trends are a thing. We should all do the same TikTok, whatever.
Right.
I get that.
Yeah.
But it's like the, not trending stuff. And then I see people just, similar sketches.
Right.
So, and I'm like, did you come up with that? Or did you see someone's tweak it, make it your own? Which there's this weird thing about TikTok. And I'm like, is that okay?
I know. I think I would feel really hurt if someone would be like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't sign up for that. Like, to have someone recreate my stuff. And I mean, I know like, what is it? Is like most sincere form of flattery. Like, what is it? Copying?
Oh God. Copying is like the most sincere form of flattery.
Yeah. Something like that. Or, anyways, like, someone will know and be like, who are you?
That's it,
Yeah. And I get that, but I love creating my own stuff. Like I love writing for myself and like writing sketches and everything. I would feel so uncomfortable posting someone else's, like knowing that it was someone else's stuff that I was posting.
Because at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like you sleep in the bed you make. So, I mean, I've always tried to be really authentic to what I'm doing, but people get views that way. Like people get major views.
So like, which one is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't figured it out.
Yeah, because I'm also a consumer, especially on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can waste a whole day on TikTok. Everyone can. It's like the most addicting app ever. And I'm not creating as much. And I have this like anxiety in me about not creating on TikTok.
Oh my God.
My stomach churns a little bit when I think about it because I was creating so much and then got like 2 million views on something and I was so excited. And then, we're talking about the Creators Fund. And if people don't know about the Creators Fund on TikTok, it's like when you get 10,000 followers on TikTok and you have to meet a certain amount of posting and, a certain amount of views. And then you get to make money on the videos that you post.
Okay.
But this has been the experience for me and a lot of people I've talked to is that once you join the Creators Fund, TikTok starts taking away your views because then you make money. So they want to get you less views. I think if you're in this kind of certain percentile, right, of like the 10,000 people, like I just got 10,000 followers. Several months ago, but I had just gotten it and then I joined the Creators Fund.
Okay.
And
how do they even approach you about this?
You have to apply for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. People just, once they hit 10,000, I think it's kind of maybe comes up or something, or you just kind of know about it.
Okay.
And some of those top percentile people like Charli D'Amelio and like.
They crush it.
They crush it and they are making so much money, but that's because they're in like the top % of it. But other people are fighting for their views and they're posting all the time. Like I was, got like 20,000. I mean, I got a video that kind of blew up, had 2 million views. And then I had like 300,000 views and 100,000. And, and that kind of stuff added up. But then once I joined the Creators Fund, like 1,000 views. And I had 10,000 followers. And I was like, or even 500 views and 30 likes. And I'm like, well, then then I don't want to make anything anymore because now it's
discouraging.
Yeah, it's so discouraging.
Yeah.
So I like shut myself down when that happened. And now I'm like, well, what's my next thing on TikTok? Because I think it's one of the ways that people can be successful as an actor or an influencer is going on TikTok. And because I think it's the one place you can really gain a following.
I do too.
Without knowing the person.
Totally.
Like on Instagram, I think that's almost impossible now.
I'm probably the one person who still like follows those people, but like, but I'm like of an old mindset at this point with that. Yeah.
I mean, I think once you familiarize yourself on TikTok with them, then you might follow
them.
But like TikTok is such a hole into that person's personality. Like I think about Victoria Paris.
I have no idea what that is. Okay, sure.
All these people who are basically posting just about their daily life. And then they're interesting enough that people follow them.
Sure.
But I was creating content that was written and recorded.
Right. Like, is edited. What you want to do.
Exactly.
Like, not like, this is my yogurt.
Right.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great example. Or a PR haul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will never catch me doing that.
I can't do it.
You don't want to watch me try.
Also, no one's sending me anything. So.
Nobody wants to watch me try on clothing because, like, I will have a horrible reaction.
No.
Like, I'll be like, I like it, I know.
Right.
Also, I won't show you the right things. Anyways, we digress.
Exactly. Like, I'm not the right person for that. So I know my lane is not that. But what is my lane now? Like, I want to have kind of like a resurgence of my TikTok. But what do I do that's interesting and engaging and funny, but also might get them interested in my Instagram? Like, we are navigating such a crazy world with acting during our time because it's so much more self-starting.
Yeah.
And hustling. And I mean, I think acting has always kind of been hustling. Like, you're always fighting for your next job and wondering when it's coming. But if you're like us who are young and just starting out, we're in the draft.
Yeah.
Like, we have to do our own things.
You have to.
I think if you're an actor and you're like have a daytime job and you're just waiting
for Hollywood to find you, good fucking luck.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It just won't happen that way, I don't think.
No.
I mean, like, gone are the days of someone finding you in a coffee shop.
Oh my God, I always say gone are the days of finding you people at the grocery store. So yes, very similar. Yeah,
exactly. It's like, that's
so
not happening anymore.
Maybe once in a while there's like someone
amazing for that.
Yeah, you must, but like you probably have to be like, fuck me hot. Like, you know, like insane.
100%.
And then also like weirdly, like artistically just so naturally like talented or whatever. But like that's very far gone.
Yeah.
So yes, I agree that all these platforms are so much about like the self-start. Like that is the company.
I know.
It's weird.
Like, you're your own brand. Like, I hate the fact that I'm my own brand.
Right. And then I go back and I think about the kids that I grew up with and you know, they're probably like, what are you doing?
I know.
Like,
well, I mean, I always feel that anxiety of like the people in my college who are now buying their own house.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how did that happen?
Sure.
Like, how does anyone have money? I'm always like, how does anyone have money? I mean, but they're selling houses and getting money. And like, I think that's amazing. And they're probably hustling in their own sense. And I don't know that. And they're doing their own thing and great for them. But we've just chosen a path that a lot of people don't make it. And so I think you have to create your own opportunities. I've always thought that, though. I've always thought when I was in college and I didn't get cast in a show, I always get one day to mourn. Like, that was the most helpful piece of advice anyone's ever given me.
Yeah. Like,
my first day of college, the teachers were giving like advice. And one of my teachers said, you get one day to mourn and then stop it. Like, move on. Like, I don't mourn any audition that I don't get anymore. Like, I do mourn if I was pinned or if I was cast and it falls through.
Sure.
I get sad about that because then I gave myself hope.
Yeah.
I was like,
totally.
Well, if, you know, I auditioned for Netflix and HBO and whatever. And if I don't get it, I'm like, you know, well, I wasn't even in the running. Well, whatever. Maybe they didn't even see my tape.
Who knows?
But if I got pinned for it and they were like, and I got a call back or something, then I get kind of sad. But you get one day to mourn. And I have, like, when I was in college and I didn't get in a show that I was really excited about, give yourself one day to mourn, get ice cream. Like, or Frappuccino. I
used to struggle a lot more with just auditioning. So I'd always be like, okay, after this is done, I have plans.
Yeah. Well, I still think there's something to that. Like, especially now, or when I was going to the audition, not like a self-tape. Self-tape's like, whatever. I don't do it. But if I was going to an audition, like spending my day there, like, you know, finding parking, this whole thing. And afterwards, I would like get myself a Frappuccino. Like, that was my treat. But, so I get one day to mourn. And then I was like, well, now what can I do? Now it's time for me to hustle. Like, oh, I'll be in a short film at my college, or I'll start doing more improv, let's film sketches. Like, there's no sense in me just sitting on my ass and being sad that I wasn't in a show.
Totally.
I mean, my parents and like grandparents are still sad about shows that I didn't get cast in high school. In high school.
That's very
Let
sweet.
me tell you, though.
My parents are like, get over it.
Right. See, they're still mad. Which is funny because it was Nina in the Heights.
Okay, yes.
And I'm white. So I was cast in it still. But they're still sad about it. Anyways, like I think you get one day to mourn, and you should be honest about that. And like, it's sad. Like, we are doing something very hard.
Right.
And you put yourself out there and you invest time in it, and then you don't get it. And that's devastating sometimes.
Totally.
So I get it. But you know, then you move on. Like, you have to move on. I
think that's why it's so important to have like side projects, like, you know, be the podcast, your TikTok, your whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like something. I remember this is why I say your first year out of college is really different than your second year out of college. My first year out of college, like pursuing acting full time, whatever, you're going for it. After about a year, you start to like spiral and kind of lose it.
Yeah.
You're a little ahead of it though, because you started doing other things. And I was like, I have to have something that like I'm completely in control of, because I am freaking out over the amount of control I do not have.
Oh, yeah.
So I started the podcast. That was like my move. Yeah. So it's like, you know, when you're so much is unreliable in your life, you have to have something that you're like, I'm gonna, you know, it could be a garden. It doesn't have to be a podcast. It doesn't have, like, just something that at the end of the day, you're like, I've done this, and like, I can see it. I can see the work. And
that's something that I got advice about, is having a hobby that's tangible.
Yeah.
And having something where you can see what you did. Like, because auditioning and stuff is like a full-time job, but you can't, it goes into the ether.
Right.
We could never know where that goes.
It's like, you know, the deep files of the internet of everyone's spam. That's where our auditions are.
Oh, right into spam.
Yeah.
And I get that. And that's part of the job.
Yeah.
I actually worked for casting directors.
Oh, wow.
And I did an internship just because I wanted to know what was happening.
No, totally.
And it gave me such a good perspective on how little control you have. I mean, I remember this one thing. They were casting someone who was a balding man, and they came in red, and I was reading with them, and, you know, we had so many people come in for this one role because it was the lead of this thing. And one guy comes in, and he just blows it out of the water. I'm like, I had like chills even thinking about it. Like, that's him. That's Hank, this guy. Like, and so then I turned to my boss who's casting, and I was like, is that him? Like, that's the guy. And she's like, well, he's bald. He's not balding. And I was like, that's how much control you have. None. This guy was the best guy we saw. I still think he was the best guy we saw. But you have no control. Like, you can't control your hair. Like, and I'm sure on a big project, they can make Scarlett Johansson look like anyone. You could look like she could look like a lizard. Like, doesn't matter. You don't need a real lizard, okay? You have ScarJo.
Yes.
But if I don't have the right color eyes for something, I'm not going to be cast.
Right.
So you have to not take it personally, which is so hard.
So hard. It's the worst. And like, that's why, like, I mean, people wonder why, you know, people in LA that are like acting and music and influencing whatever sometimes are so horribly insecure. And that's why, because you could be doing everything right, and it's not working out.
I think if you're an actor and you're not like insecure or don't have anxiety, who are you?
Yeah. Who are you?
You have to be so invested in this career.
Exactly.
And investment also comes with anxiety and insecurity.
And you're working your ass off.
Yeah. And you're working your ass off. Like, that's what I was just telling someone. I was like, I feel like I do a million things and nothing.
Yeah, me too.
A million things and nothing, because it's one thing to create the content. It's a different thing to make money from it. Like, you have to start somewhere. And I'm still at the base of it where I'm not making money. Like, I'm investing into a hole. Like, me and my co-host of the podcast are like, we are in the hole. We're in the hole. But you do it because you love it, and it's a creative project, and you need something tangible. Like, so, I mean, I think you have your day job, and someone just told me that, like, your day job is your GoFundMe for your career. Like, that's what it is. You have to have some sort of finances to support all these creative endeavors you have. But yeah, it's hard. And I wish people really understood that, like, I don't know if you have this, but when you go home for holidays.
Oh yeah. And you have no idea what to tell people.
It is the absolute worst. I still get going home anxiety.
I've learned to really wordsmith it.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah, I've really learned to wordsmith it. But
turn around on them.
Yeah, well,
like, what are you doing?
You know, I always, you know, bring up like the amount of time I've been like at my acting studio, or, you know, how many episodes of the podcast there are, or, you know, like, or, you know, how, like, I report in numbers. Like, I'm like, I did X amount of short films. Do I mention that I wrote them or produced them? No. But I did that, you know, whatever.
Right.
So, you know, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's this like, people hear you're an actor and they're like, well, why don't I see you on TV? It's like people saying, oh, what have I seen you in?
And you're like, oh.
Like, do you remember the Airheads commercial from 2 years ago? And they're like, no. It's like, yeah, well, the only people you're going to know are like, if
the leads.
The leads. It's
you
like,
don't even remember the guy who says, do you want mustard with that?
No. And that's where you have to start.
Yeah.
You have to start with Mustard Man.
Exactly.
We
have to start with Mustard Man.
Yeah.
Well, Isabel, you are lovely. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Tell us all about where we can find you, your podcast, everything.
Okay. Well, I just first want to say thank you for having me.
Oh my God, of course.
We're so similar.
I know. I was like, whoa.
It's really good to talk to someone who's in the same boat.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's such a struggle. Like this.
I know the boat.
The draft. I mean, I'm going to use that forever.
Use it forever. Take the varsity complex too. Those are the two I'm really trying to start.
Yeah. Hashtag it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you can find me on Instagram. It's Isabel, ISABEL_Klein.
Love that.
KLEIN. That's probably too fast. But you can find it. And then Date a Week, the podcast is my podcast.
And what's the podcast about?
It's about dating. Crazy.
Wild.
Wild. We ask comedians about their best dates and their worst dates.
Oh.
Yeah, comedians in LA and some actors and creatives, but mostly stand-up comedians. So they're funny and wild and insane because comedians have no filter.
Love that.
So you like ride the high of their best day and like ride the low of their worst day. It's ridiculous, but it's super fun.
Love that. Well, thank you so much for being here again.
Thank you. I had so much fun.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week.